this lesson, we're going to look at when we can use PRINCE2. Now, PRINCE2 is useful for some things, but it's not useful for other things. So now you're thinking, well, what are those things? It's useful when you have a project, but not everything is a project. So for example, if you try to use PRINCE2 for day-to-day operations, which we call business as usual, or for programs and so on, then you will fail. So what's a project? Well, PRINCE2 has its own definition for a project, and I'm going to take you through that. So let me take you through it, and then I will explain some of the wording in there because I will need to do that. So what's a project? A project is a temporary organization that is created for the purpose of delivering one or more business products according to an agreed business case. Now let me go through some of those words to make it easier for you. The first one was temporary. So what do we mean by that? Well, each project has a definite start and end. Well, it should have, and that makes it temporary. So for example, we are building a building and it's finished, and then we stop work. So it had a start and an end date. That makes it temporary. Now, if you look at manufacturing, well, that just continues until it doesn't make sense anymore. So we don't see that as temporary. We don't have a definite end date in the same way we do for a building, for finishing a building project. Now, what happens at the end of a project? Well, people go back to their normal work, or they go on to get a new project. So that's it for temporary. Organization. What do we mean by that? Well, the word organization refers to the project team, so the people involved in the project and how they relate to each other. Next one is a product, or business product. So this is used to refer to the output created by the project. So something tangible, for example, the building, that's tangible. Or the capability to provide a service such as a production line, or the result of a study that was created, like a report created at the end of scientific research. Then business case. Business case, that's a concept actually, and it refers to the justification of the project. In other words, why are we going to do the project? Then agreed business case. Well, usually there are different parties involved in the project, and they need to have a common agreed understanding of why the project is being done. Now let me read the definition again, and it will make a lot more sense. So, what's a project according to PRINCE2? Well, a project is a temporary organization that is created for the purpose of delivering one or more business products according to an agreed business case. Good, I think you've got that. Another question. How can we recognize projects? Well, actually we can. Projects have a number of characteristics, and that helps us to recognize them. So I'm going to bring you through 5 main characteristics that it has. And the first one is change. Projects are a way to introduce change. So, for example, we create something like a new building, or we change something that already exists. For example, we add a new feature to a sales application. Both of these give changes to the world. They make the world a little bit different. And projects are a way of introducing important structural changes. Then we have temporary. We've discussed temporary already, but projects have a definite start and a definite end date. That's the idea behind temporary. Then cross-functional. A project involves people with different skills from different areas of the organization, or even from different organizations, that come together and work together during the project. And then after the project, they go back to their normal jobs. So that's what we mean by cross-functional. Next is unique. Let's say we have to create 2 hospitals, and at first these hospitals look quite similar. But actually these can be very different projects, or are different projects, because we have to take the following into account. For example, the people working on the project, the local laws, the difference in climate at the time when you're building the project, the difference in procurement. So when you compare them actually, you see that these projects are very unique. Now, on the other hand, let's say we have a factory that produces pens, and each pen is created with the exact same process. Each pen can be a little bit unique, but these differences are not so significant. So in the hospital example, uniqueness is the primary driver of how we actually should work, whereas in the second example, the pen example, uniformity is a goal and a driver. And the last one is uncertainty. So similar to uniqueness, if we look closely enough, everything in the world has some level of uncertainty. However, some things are a lot more uncertain, and projects are actually highly uncertain, but operations not so. In operations, the level of uncertainty is much lower than in projects, and therefore the main focus of the people involved actually is just focused on the management of the operations and to have optimization while they're doing that. In projects, on the other hand, we can't do that because of the higher levels of uncertainty. So instead, our main focus is on dealing with uncertainties. So being prepared for all types of challenges, being proactive, being flexible, accepting unforeseen changes, and so on. So that gives you an overview there. Now, why do we need project management? Well, an organization resources are limited. We can't spend lots of money on every project that happens, and we cannot spend lots of time. We must optimize our limited resources to get the best result from the project. So in other words, increase the chances of achieving the project objectives. And this requires actually good preparation, good planning, monitoring, controlling, facilitation, problem solving, and good coffee. And all of these things together is what we refer to, or what we call, as project management. So project management, see it as a discipline that helps us to be more successful in projects. Now, and like all other disciplines, we must not try to reinvent the wheel, but to learn from others. Now let's look at some of the benefits of using PRINCE2. Remember, these are benefits that come from within PRINCE2. So PRINCE2 is a well-structured project management method, and it has many advantages and some disadvantages like everything else. Now, according to PRINCE2, these are the advantages. The first one is that it's proven. Well, it's been around for about 35 years, and lots of people have certifications in PRINCE2. It's universal, so it can be used for any type of project and any size of project in any industry. It's flexible. It can be adjusted to the needs of the organization. It's got a common language and concepts, and that makes sure that there's much less misunderstanding when people talk to each other about project concepts. Outcome focused. It's really focused on the principles and purposes rather than just creating lots of documents. Increased organization maturity. That's really about lessons and about improving the way you're doing project management all the time and building up your own maturity of the way that you're actually working. And the last one it mentions is being part of a suite of methods. So what does that mean? Well, PRINCE2 is for managing projects, but in order for an organization to succeed, well, you need to have proper program and portfolio of management. So such methods are also provided with the same family by PeopleCert, and they can be used by the organization as well. So as you can see, this benefits section is a good marketing section for PRINCE2. And that's it. We've covered a lot of concepts here, but that's it for why can we use PRINCE2.